So top 10 UFO songs. We just did Uriah Heep, and before that we did Rolling Stones, but now we're doing UFO, one of my all-time favorite bands, and probably the perfect choice for the third band I ever review on the top 10 list. Um, I'm not saying it's my third favorite band. I think at one point it was my first favorite, but there's not that many songs that I love, even though they have a number of albums from the '70s, which is the main era that they're celebrated for. But I just, there's only so much fanfare I can sort of dole out for these groups. Um, However, the songs I do like by UFO, I really really love, and I played on constant repeat, almost like so it was almost like the first Whitesnake album, where it's like, or not the first, but the one that's eponymous. They had some other albums but the eponymous one called Whitesnake was not their debut, but the songs, the whole album is just like top to bottom excellence. I mean, it's par excellence or whatever. So without any more dumb asides and preamble, never mind the ramble. I We'll do top 10. Top 10, number 10. This is a recent listen. I listened to it today, or maybe 5 minutes ago. Who knows? I'll never tell. And it's called "I'm a Loser." And the reason I like this one is because it showcases how Phil Mogg can really just lean into his passion and his sort of vitality as a singer, his sincerity as a singer, and you can just kind of punch above. He can make this like a song that's kind of immediately threadbare lyrically. He can make it punch above its weight, just by how sincere he is with the lyrics. And not to say that he's a loser, but he just kind of sings it in such a believable way. And it's not really a complex song, but just on the way he sort of can alter pretty vanilla lyrics, I think that song gets to be number 10. Um, Number 9 is High Flyer. So I think this is off the Phenomenon album. High Flyer is it's a fun song, but it's like it's like the kind of the whole group of songs that I love. It's kind of the worst of the best. It doesn't really have the same kinetic sort of aggression that the other songs have. It doesn't really have the same sort of sexuality the other songs have. It doesn't really have the same pizzazz or panache or whatever. I wouldn't really say panache, but it doesn't really have the same mojo. High Flyer, though, it's got excellent structure. Chorus is cool. Verse is intriguing. The guitar work is fine. It's like a B song for UFO, but it's like kind of like the only B song in a way. A lot of everything else is either A minus A or B minus C plus or C. Most of their stuff doesn't really land squarely in B. Now, so that's number 8. I guess number 9. Number 8. Um, Hard to attribute a number 8, but I would say Doctor Doctor. It's a fine hit a single that they put out, solid, but it sort of has this superficiality to it that's not in their other singles. That is reminiscent of like a John Bon Jovi tune, and it just sort of feels square and like a little too dyed in the wool and predictable. The lyrics are kind of meaningless, kind of. It doesn't really. It doesn't. You don't feel like you're getting the whole compliment or of UFO tracks, and it doesn't really feel like it covers the gamut of like what they can do lyrically and melodically, rhythmically, and harmonically, yeah. So number 8 is Doctor Doctor. Number 7, um, okay, it's getting tough. I would have to say for number 7, maybe Maybe Belladonna. It's a slower tune song. It's acoustic intro, very nice acoustic intro. Um, I think it might be a little repetitious to hear it over and over again. It kind of doesn't age that well, but it's a very like haunting song when you hear it, and the lyrics are really strong. One of their strongest and most decorous lyrics. Like it feels like it's like a romantic poem verging into the Victorian era. Very timeless lyrics. Somewhat opulent and sophisticated, I guess. Belladonna is a reference to this medieval chemical that people would drop in from a plant called poison, a deadly nightshade, that they would drop into their eyes, and then from a tincture, and then their pupils would dilate, and it made women more attractive. I think men used it too, but the name of the game was that women would use it to be more attractive, from what I understand. So that's seven or six. So that's seven, right? Did two, three, four. Yeah. So now we're at six, I guess. Yeah. Number six is it's a similar kind of slower song, but it doesn't have the same acoustic intro. It's Queen of the Deep. Very mysterious and dark for in terms of what the subject matter is. Heaven knows, but I'm in this living place. Um, there's a doom and gloom to Queen of the Deep. It's a longer song, not super long, but somewhat long, and it's kind of I think it's long. It might not even be long. I might be kidding myself, but it's a very like kind of slow and sluggish and sort of groovy, moody song. Um, it kind of keeps you in a slump, but it's one of those songs like a good Zeppelin song where you kind of revel in the depression a little that it sends you to. So that's six. Queen of the Deep, moi. Piece de la Resistance. Number five. Um, I'd say Try Me is number five. I think um, Try Me is a great piano intro. Beautiful piano intro. Beautiful, beautiful piano intro. The song itself doesn't really go to a lot of different places. It's not super progressive or anything, but it's a very doleful kind of dirge in a way. It's not a dirge, but it's unrequited. It's a song about unrequited love, and there's a sense that there's a spiritual death that the singer Phil Mogg has to go through. And I believe there's, if I'm not mistaken, there's a really, pretty good guitar solo at the end. So "Try Me" it's like a minus song. It's not. It doesn't really define who. I think it's the most human song that they made. The song that sort of shows them at their most, um, you know, they're the least likely to what do you call it? It's fucking beer dandruff. Come on. Um, it's a song that shows them at their least sort of. It's a vulnerable song for sure, and it shows them at their most honest in a way. Is that five? Okay, number four is okay, four left. All right. Let's say number four is probably "Only You Can Rock Me," and that might be um, that song. It's about sex, and that's kind of fun. The lyrics are really kind of tongue in cheek and coy, and that's kind of fun. It's not necessarily the most sophisticated song lyrically, but the guitar solo is searing, and the vitality is like really is as good as any other you know powerhouse UFO single. The fact that they're just so cavalier about talking about sex in "Only You Can Rock Me" is what lends so much uh, panache and pizzazz and mojo and whatever. I don't know. It gives them a virility that the other songs don't always provide, and that helps support the brand and image of UFO, and it makes you kind of it gets you kind of in the sexual groove yourself, and I think there's not a lot of songs in their canon that do that effectively, even though they're kind of known for it. I think "Only You Can Rock Me" is kind of the best one they have for that. But it's just a kind of a groovy sexual song, energetic, aggressive, high charged, whatever. But it's not it's not the most sophisticated one. Um, Next up is Rock Bottom. I didn't used to like Rock Bottom. It's not as sexual as Only You Can Rock Me, but it's sort of close. It's probably the closest one, and it's extremely um, 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 it's probably one of their most metal songs. It's very like, in your face and sort of virtuosic with the guitar playing. The riff is really kind of a showboating riff. It sounds sort of killer overall. It's very kind of like arena rock on the surface. I feel like Rock Bottom is kind of like it's the one that you would show someone who. It's kind of like you wouldn't introduce. It's one that you could kind of show anyone, and they would just be like, "Oh, good song." It might not get them to love UFO, but it's because it's you have to listen to it many times to appreciate it. But it's a good enough song in its own right that you just feel like, "Wow, this band is cool. I'm glad I'm listening to a good song right now." So Rock Bottom is number 3. Number 2 is Lights Out. This now we're getting to the Lights Out album. Lights Out. This is a triumph of a song. It's really in your face. It's really powerful. It really wants your desperate for your attention. It's a caged animal. It's electrified. Literally, the song's about electricity, and this song wants to possess your soul and turn you into a rock god, rock monster. Lights Out is a direct attack at your passivity as a teenager, as a young adult, or as a man. Lights Out is a song that just sort of shakes you up to the core. Not no other song I've ever heard is quite like Lights Out. Maybe The Rover by Zeppelin. That's the one I can only compare it to. That's number 2, right? Yeah, number 1 is the song that really got me into UFO, and the song that I'd kind of recommend to someone who has decent taste in music and won't just shoo away a song for being tender, and it's the resplendent and transcendently beautiful "Love to Love." "Love to Love" is like the piece de resistance. If I didn't already say that, the creme de la creme, right? It is not, if Doctor is sort of the bête noire. "Love to Love" is like the je ne sais quoi. "Love to Love" is so rich in its beauty that I have a hard time expressing it in simple words. I think the structure is very all over the place. It's my one criticism. It's very like, oh, this is electronic. This is guitar riffs. This is a moody singing. But I think that somehow that collision of apparent opposites doesn't end in this sort of oppositional tension. It actually resolves in a very vulnerable and human fashion, and you just sort of feel like you're feeling someone's life being like laid bare for you. It's a very, very tender experience if you can appreciate all the different moving parts. Obviously, the parts themselves are kind of gritty and gangly and janky, and it's very like of its time, sort of mid 70s, sort of garage rock in a way. You feel like listening to it, it's so forlorn. You feel like you're in a hotel, an abandoned hotel. Kind of like the one song I tend to compare it to is Frank Zappa's Watermelons and Easter Hay. That's another person I should probably do a top 10 for. But anyway, Love to Love is the best UFO song I've heard, and it's one of the best songs I've ever heard by any band or musical artist. I still don't really know how they did it, and I still don't know how the song isn't better known. It's tremendous. And so, yeah, I guess to dial it back, we had, and to list it in reverse for you. Number one is Love to Love from Lights Out. Yeah, it's also on the Lights Out album. Number two is Lights Out from the same titled Lights Out album. Number three is um, Rock Bottom. Number four is Only You Can Rock Me. I think those might be reversed. I think actually I should. I mean, those might be in the wrong order. I think Rock Bottom is number four for me, and Only You Can Rock Me is number three. I don't know why I had them in the wrong way. I think that's the truer answer because Only You Can Rock Me is a very sexual song, and that kind of is remarkable in and of itself. And Rock Bottom, from what I remember, is a little less sexual, but it's still like this like heavy hitting song. And I just think it's maybe a slightly more predictable as a ditty, you know hard rock anthem that sort of is like on like the greatest. It's on like the the top 40 or the greatest hits compilations, record albums, classic rock compilations albums. So yeah, three and four are some sort of combination of those two. I wouldn't say that they're tied. I think they're different enough, but they're very close. Someone might tie them as number three, number four, and I wouldn't complain at all. They're very, very close. Number five was Queen of the Deep or Try Me. Oh, I think Try Me was actually number three, right? Four and five was, yeah. But anyway, Try Me, I don't really remember what these orders were, but Try Me was, I'm always changing my mind about this band. I love it so much. It's a living, breathing experience. Having, it's a band that's not really that popular, but it was always cool, and it still is an enigma. But anyway, so Try Me, very, very touching attempt at pursuing unrequited love in a song form. And then from there you get Queen of the Deep, and I think it's Belladonna, which is another song about love. That Queen of the, I mean, all these songs are about love. I think just about sex and love, but mostly love. And then from there it kind of falls off into sort of like the songs that maybe are questionable to consider favorites, but I still like them. And yeah, High Flyer and I'm a Loser. Um, and really, this is the hardest one to get 10 songs for that I've done so far because they don't have a ton of songs from this classic period, but they do the song. But every album they did put out at this time had good songs, but like not every single song they made was like one you'd want to call a favorite. I will say that most of their music is pretty good and listenable, but it's not every song is a hit, in your own head. All right, I was only trying to do 17 minutes. It's kind of my goal, but looks like I did 20. I keep going over time because I love talking about these bands so much. It's sort of chody, but what can you do? You have to, commit the the heinous act of self-expression, or else you'll commit arson on yourself. Burn down your own house with yourself in it from the stress. All right. Peace out. Listen to UFO. You won't get probed by an alien. Or if you do, it's the alien of godly rock music. You'll love it. UFO, nothing else quite like it. It's as strange as an alien, for sure. But in the most beautiful possible way. Ciao.